What happens when you mix water and electricity? What makes a volcano erupt? And what's the best way to put some bang in your Bacchus? Join Kevin, Stuart, Bob, and the rest of the Minions as they conduct some explosive experiments to find out in Minions. When things go boom, our Minion friends are hanging out by the river when suddenly Kevin gets an idea. He grabs a metal bucket and heads into the water. As he does, he grabs a nearby banana peel and tosses it into the bucket before placing the metal bucket into the river. His Minion pals watch in anticipation as sparks fly from the bucket. They look to Bob, who shrugs his shoulders and tilts his head in confusion. Suddenly, the banana peel flies out of the bucket and lands on Stuart's head. Sparks immediately fly from him as well and he yelps in surprise. Kevin looks to Bob and says something to him in Minion gibberish, pointing to the bucket in the river. Bob looks back at the bucket, then back at Kevin, and then runs off, presumably to get more banana peels. As the other Minions watch, Kevin uses a nearby stick to stir the water around the bucket. More sparks fly from the bucket, which lands on a rock just as Bob returns. He looks to Kevin and Stuart and says something in Minion gibberish. Kevin shakes his head and says something back. Just then, a massive explosion occurs and blows the Minions and the tree they were sitting on into the air. As they float down to the ground, defeated, they notice a sign that reads, "Danger, high voltage." Looking back at the river, they see their tree floating away with a bright light shining from the bucket. The Minions come across a volcano and decide to take a closer look. As they walk along the rocky terrain, they notice that the ground begins to shake. They look up and see molten lava spewing from the top of the volcano. Kevin looks at his friends and says something in Minion gibberish. Bob and Stuart look confused, but before they can reply, the ground beneath them begins to shake violently. They run away from the volcano as rocks and dirt fall from the sky. The Minions eventually come across a cave to hide in. As they enter, they see a sign that reads, "Beware of falling rocks." As if on cue, a rock falls from above and lands in a puddle near where the Minions are standing. Another rock falls and lands in a puddle nearby. The first rock begins to glow brightly and the Minions run in fear. The second rock glows as well and the Minions hide behind a rock formation. Both rocks begin to glow brightly and explode, sending the Minions flying through the air. As they float to the ground, defeated, they notice a sign that reads, "Volcano." They look up and see that the volcano has erupted and the rocks that exploded were glowing hot lava. The Minions come across a construction site and decide to check it out. As they walk past some caution tape, a worker warns them that it's an active construction site. Unfazed, the Minions climb onto a nearby crane and begin to move it back and forth like a swing. The other Minions cheer as they watch Kevin and Stuart take turns swinging higher and higher. Suddenly, the crane comes crashing down. The Minions huddle together on the ground as they watch another crane approach. As it moves closer, they notice that it's carrying a large amount of dynamite. The crane carrying the dynamite comes to a stop, and one of the workers exits with a lit match. He looks at the Minions and yells, "Run!" The Minions run away as fast as they can, but the dynamite explodes, sending them flying through the air. As they float down to the ground, defeated, they notice a sign that reads, "Caution, explosive materials." Looking back at the construction site, they see that the crane carrying the dynamite had crashed. The Minions come across a lake and decide to have a picnic. They lay out their food on a blanket and get ready to eat. As they dig into their food, they hear a loud crash. They look up and see a large amount of fireworks raining down from the sky. The Minions run in fear as the fireworks explode all around them. They eventually come across a cave to hide in. As they enter, they see a sign that reads, "No fireworks allowed." Looking back at the entrance, they see that the fireworks have stopped and are now burning the grass outside the cave. The Minions exit the cave and look up in the night sky. Suddenly, there's a massive explosion and the Minions are sent flying through the air. As they float down to the ground, defeated, they notice a sign that reads, "Happy 4th of July." From the Minions' first experiment with electricity to their last with fireworks, the Minions learned that some things are best left to the experts. Even though they may have caused some damage along the way, they learned some valuable lessons about the world around them. Will you leave it to the experts or try it for yourself? You decide. Thanks for watching. See you next time.